About a decade ago, ENCAT detected a lack of teaching resources in the topics of cultural management and policies. Being the leading European network on these fields, ENCAT took a step forward and decided to start a new project with which this gap could be addressed. This is how the encatcSCHOLAR was born. Started in 2013, this project was born to satisfy the demand of ENCAT members, academics, researchers, and students, to exchange teaching methodologies and knowledge to use in the classroom. encatcSCHOLAR is intended to provide reference tools and lifelong learning on cultural management and cultural policies. This initiative is intended to achieve the objective of capacity building and educating professionals and students by offering its members opportunities to enhance and strengthen their knowledge, skills, competences, and abilities. The objectives of developing this encatcSCHOLAR are to develop an open tool that encourages participation and sharing in the creation of teaching materials, to offer suggestions about some basic and accurate methodological approaches related to how to study emerging issues that affect public policies, present and analyze case studies, and open debates on how to improve the management of those projects. In the beginning, the editors of the encatcSCHOLAR were Cristina Ortega, the editor-in-chief, Giannalia Cogliandro, the ENCAS Secretary General of the organization, and Melba Claudio González, who devoted disinterested work and innovative ideas on this topic. Nowadays, the editorial advisory board is made up of the ENCAT board members. The encatcSCHOLAR was firstly introduced as a blog on which articles of miscellaneous topics, again on the basis of cultural management and policies, were published. The encatcSCHOLAR currently has 12 issues. However, it was not until the 5th edition that specific topics were selected for each of them. Moreover, one of the already published is a special one entitled Learning on Intangible Cultural Heritage. Additionally, the editorial team is currently working on 3 more issues, which will be published by the end of this year and the first quarter of 2021. Diving into this matter, in the early years, the encatcSCHOLAR joined other ENCAT publications and media in our effort to capitalize on members' immense expertise and facilitate the knowledge flow among them. Since then, the first 4 miscellaneous issues were released, with contents that deal with a variety of topics ranging from cultural diversity and art-based business learning on cultural policy, among others. 3 years later, the editors of the encatcSCHOLAR got together to look back and review this journey. While we believe in the quality of and diversity of the contents already published, we had the impression that there was room for improvement in what refer the accessibility of those contents. As a result of this review process, and with the aim of making it easier to find pieces on a specific topic, we created our first monographic issue on the encatcSCHOLAR. Therefore, from 2016 onwards, each issue started to focus on a hot topic in the field of cultural management and policy. In this way, professors, professionals, or people generally interested in a specific theme would be able to consult a whole set of materials from a multifocal perspective, including contributions by experts from all over Europe and beyond. Under the title of our first monographic issue on digitalization and cultural field issue, number 5 was the first to focus on a specific topic. As previously stated, 3 upcoming issues are in preparation at the moment, being these related to the last ENCATC Congress held 2019, ENCATC Congress on Diversity and Sustainability at Work, Policies and Practices from Culture and Education. The remaining 2 issues provide learning opportunities on the topic of 2 ENCATC activities originally planned as face-to-face events. These are, in the one hand, the ENCATC meeting on evaluation on the impact of art fairs and on regional local level, which was to take place in Maastricht, and on the other hand, the ENCATC International Study Tour to Lisbon. Apart from this, another highlight for the encatcSCHOLAR during 2020 is the launch of our new website. We wanted to give this project a more eye-catching perspective, while at the same time keeping its main aim of being an accessible source of didactic materials. In doing so, all content is now accessible, and not only by issue, contents or tags, but also in a full downloadable PDFs. Regarding the different contents that are published within the encatcSCHOLAR, the following approaches can be found with each issue. Angles. This section should collect articles on connections of culture to other disciplines, focusing on discussing the challenges and opportunities that could arise from these interconnections, as well as highlighting innovative components that enrich and strengthen practice. Authors should close their discussion outlining some questions to spark the discussion and the interest, studying in depth the impact of such interconnections in developing the cultural sector. I would like to show you one example that is entitled "The Ecology of Culture and Values, Implications for Cultural Policy and Governance." The following article, being to issue number 6 on ecology of culture, in it a cultural ecology approach to cultural policy and governance is argued. It is considered that cultural ecology focuses on collaboration, cooperation, coordination, co-creation, coexistence, and cross-fertilizing of nature and humanities, while it goes beyond the logics of cultural administration, hierarchical governments, and market rules and economic values. It is interesting to see how, in the age of cultural and creative industries and the symbolic economy, we need to find a balanced method for evaluating and presenting the intrinsic and instrumental values of culture. From this text's perspective, a cultural ecology approach suggests a new model of network governance of culture and potentials of a much wider framework of cultural evaluation. Such a framework makes attempts to achieve a balance between instrumental goals and cultural, artistic, social, and humanistic value of culture. The second section I would like to introduce you is the case analysis. This section is made up of case studies presented as a scholarly tool to illustrate situations where cultural managers are facing crossroads and need to analyze a variety of circumstances to make a well-informed decision. The example I have chosen to illustrate this section is the article that is entitled "Somebody Should Make the First Move, Intercultural Dialogue at Jamley Museum. This case analysis has been taken from issue number 8 on Because Culture Have a Say in Europe's Refugee Cities. In it, the CEO of Jamley Foundation, Henry Tipson, gives a background of on folk museums and immigration during the last decade, while providing more in-detail information regarding this museum in Sweden. Afterwards, the case study is presented, being this focus on how in 2015 the board of the foundation decided to look into the possibility of building houses at the museum site, which could offer relatively cheap but good quality housing, especially for families in need. Due to the increase of refugees entering the country. The second section I would like to share with you is what we call context. And this section includes rather theoretical contributions that provide a general overview of reflection on the topic on a specific question related to the topic of the issue. I have chosen the following example that deals with network governance. Being the framework of the issue in which this text has been published, further learning about the sustainability of cultural networks, this article, written by the independent consultant for international cooperation, Anna Steinkamp, presents an approach for making international networks of cultural cooperation more effective and sustainable as tools for international cooperation, actors of global governance, and thus platforms to drive social and political changes in answer to current global challenges. Another section is what we call interviews, and it tries to give a voice to leading people in Europe, managers, politicians, artists, ex-commissioners, and so on. At the end of the interview, the interviews raises some questions to the readers to encourage discussion and to activate critical thinking on the topics that we have presented. The example that we have chosen is the interview with Lucy Latham. The aim of this interview within the special issue Further Learning about the Sustainability and Cultural Networks is to show how cultural networking factors sustainability and the development of those skills that art leaders need to have. This interview with Lucy Latham, project manager of Julie's Bicycle, leading global charity based in London, that embeds operational sustainability and environmental management within artistic and cultural venues and activities both in the UK and internationally. Julie's Bicycle has begun a number of striking partnerships with governmental art bodies such as Arts Council England, international organizations such as IFACA, and has launched initiatives such as the Creative Climate Leadership Training Program, which receive applications from more than 40 countries around the world. The next section is the teaching experience that provides an opportunity for teachers to share in first person practical ideas to meet their educational goals and to improve the teaching practice. We have chosen the example entitled Learning Through Space, Heritage Building as Classrooms in the Mantov Architectura Experience. For this contribution, firstly, a brief background is provided about the difficulties for learning processes in the fields like art and education, architecture, since these imply the assimilation of peculiar skills based on creativity, sensibility, and spatial intelligence, which can only be nurtured through complex and diversified activities. It then explains how the Mantova campus at the Polytechnic of Milano promotes innovative teaching and research activities focused on the enhancement of cultural heritage through contemporary architectural design interventions through its Bachelor of Science in Architectural Design and its Master Program in Architectural Design and History. The text finally connects this ambition of the Montova campus in the Montova Architectura cultural project launched by UNESCO, with which students can explore the development of a proposal for the requalification of special heritage sites in Mantova, with the support of an interdisciplinary group of local and visiting professors. The next section is called Profiles. It intends to be a teaching tool for professors, useful for presentation in class of the world's leading thinkers that have made important contributions to the development and professionalization of cultural management, as well as those who have influenced the establishment of public policies, their main conceptual approaches, major publications, biographical references. I have chosen this example of Raymond Moulin, a French pioneer of the sociology of art. In this contribution of Rafael Mandrujano Ortiz to the profile of Raymond Moulin, we can see how he has provided not only relevant information about this profile, but also her evolution in her professional career and the important role she plays in the field of sociology of art. The next section is called Proceedings, and it is a space to present conferences, proceedings, and their conclusions that often never have been published, thus losing the opportunity to follow up the evolution of debates over time. In this case, I would like to highlight two very interesting examples. On the one hand, the UNESCO ENCATC round table on learning on intangible heritage, building teachers' capacity for a sustainable future. This took place on 5th December 2017, right after the third meeting of the Stakeholders Committee for the European Year of Cultural Heritage 2018, organized in Milan alongside the European Cultural Forum. The session counted with the participation of 28 people, including teaching faculty and representatives of different stakeholder groups, such as government officials, community heritage workers, communities of practice, and other stakeholders on topics related to intangible cultural heritage. On the other hand, the second example is that of Proceedings text abstracted from an ENCATC event, the 2019 International Study Tour to Morocco, in particular to Casablanca and Marrakech. 33 educators, researchers, artists, cultural professionals, and decision makers from 10 countries gathered in the city of Morocco, whereas an intensive 5-day program took participants on an exciting study visits to cultural institutes and inspiring cultural venues, including lectures, culture tours, and interactive discussions with leading cultural management and policy experts and influencers in Morocco. By taking in lively exchange of ideas, projects, and best practices, participants had the unique opportunity to increase their knowledge of cultural policy systems and cultural trends in North Africa, to jointly discuss possible synergy projects between Morocco and Europe, to network with international colleagues. And regarding the format of the text published, they are according to the type of approach selected. Main sections of the format include introduction, body of the text, which has different subsections as previously stated, due to the differences in the approach chosen for their contribution. References with the whole list of authors and texts included, and the questions for further discussion. I would like to stress the importance of the latter being an added value for the ENCATCSCHOLAR. These questions are frequently used by professors for their classes. However, obviously the questions can be used by other readers who is willing to reflect on the text. And I would like to thank you very much for your attention, and I really invite you to go to our website and have a look to the different issues regarding the ENCATCSCHOLAR.